So everybody watched the episode.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the trailer? Like when I said watch this episode and I put the trailer in the thing, did you watch the trailer? And
I don't think I watched the trailer. No.
Okay. Well then, you're missing out on a lot of the fun. And
Well, I
recommend
didn't
going
want to
back and watching
spoil
the
it for
trailer.
myself.
Okay.
I saw that I went to season 2 of Netflix and Stargate, seasons 2 of Stargate and Netflix, and I found episode 4 and I left it open in the background, and I was like, I'll watch it at work one of these days. And it's just been so busy that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch it. I need something to watch when I'm using the elliptical on Wednesday anyway. So that's when I watched it. Just went downstairs, put it on my phone, went to season 2, episode 4, put in my earbuds,
Nice.
and watched me some Gamekeeper.
Yeah, this was Gamekeeper. This is you'll notice a lot of similarities between this and the last episode I made you guys watch.
It was almost as if it was the same show.
Yeah. Well, so it starts off. It's kind of like the last episode started off where they're in a brief. Oh yeah.
Why does Teal'c look so much like a lady?
He is.
Like, look at his face.
He is heavily made up.
He is heavily made up.
I mean,
He's got like a shiny, eyebrowless. He looks like a drag queen.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Well, he likes to look good. Okay.
He looks all right. I like the part where he pulls off his hat and he's suddenly got hair, and he's just like Teal'c, but with normal hair.
I think that made the cut, but I did have a screenshot of that. But yeah, so instead of so they skip the briefing room part and they go right to the general just showing them like some shots of a planet. And then they kind of casually look at it, and Colonel O'Neill's like, "Hey, Teal'c, does it look familiar?" And he's like, "It does not." And then
then suddenly they go. It's like they do that shit really fast, and everything about this show is fast. Like they just hustle through the plot and touch on everything for like 13 seconds. It's like, hey, you want to go to this planet? Yeah, let's go to this planet. Oh, what are these chairs? Let's sit down in a chair. Oh, fuck, I'm in your dreams. Are we in time? Lost in time? Oh, no, we're not in time. Oh, no, here's the guy in charge. Oh, he's in charge? Well, my parents are dying. What's happening? Oh, we're together now because no one's complying. Oh, next thing you know, it's like, no, we're out. We're not really out. It's pretty obvious. Then we figure out we're not out. Then we're back in. It's like, suddenly it's just been like, So if take your time.
You're jumping. Speaking of going fast, you are jumping through the whole episode in about 10 seconds. All right. Now let me do my goddamn PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. Sorry.
So, as usual, Dr. Jackson's like, this appears to be some kind of advanced civilization. And
is that 90s hair?
That is 90s hair. This is 1998 for the record. This is 1998.
You need like a highlighter so you can bring up a little pointer and be like,
can you see my map?
90. Dr. Jackson is 90s hair.
There you go.
MacGyver has his ball cap on.
Oh,
and then we got sort of like this weird, you got the guy with the made up face and the medallion on his forehead is Teal'c. And then the upper right is knows everything girl, who just figures everything out like immediately, and whose name I don't know, despite the fact that I've watched 2 episodes.
In this, she's a captain. I don't know. She starts as a captain, then she's a major.
Everyone has a friggin' rank, but no one's rank is just like the guy who changes the water in the water cooler. Everyone's a friggin' captain or a governor or a lieutenant or a director. It's like, where's the shit shufflers in this friggin' army?
So Carter, we'll just call her Carter. She suggests that perhaps these can be allies against the Goa'uld, and they'll get some weapons, which is literally the same exact plot as the last episode as you guys watched. We're like, let's go to the planet. Maybe they'll be allies.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this will be great. So they go to the planet.
And there's Epcot Center, just sunk a little bit into the ground.
And you'll see once again they go to another planet that looks exactly like Earth, with pine trees.
And they're not surprised at all to find humans there. It's like, oh, they're humans.
So
of course they are. Everywhere there's just humans.
So they immediately, what they do is they just SWAT style breach this. Imagine you're hanging out, you're sitting in your home, you're making some bacon, and some idiots in army outfits with MP5s just waltz into your house ready to light you up. You know, what do they expect to happen? What are they going to walk in and just start, start pointing guns at people? Being like, hey, want to be friends?
Does no one think that maybe they should, like, lock their Epcot Center before they fucking entomb themselves for 1,000 years in it?
Yeah.
The CG here when they get snatched up by the chairs was kind of gross.
Oh, and they're like, their like temples get like sucked.
Well, when the hoses were whooshing around them and stuff, it was like, oh boy, that's 90s CG.
Oh well, yeah, it's 1990. I look, I can generally look past bad, CG during this time.
It just dates it pretty hard.
But yeah, so we see a bunch of people in these pods or whatever, and they're just like, they're dressed, and then they start poking at them. They're like, what do you suppose these are? And they're like, I don't know, maybe, suspension, hibernation chambers, maybe it's some kind of, we really don't know, but let's just start messing with them. Start looking at them. You see Dr. Jackson right here, he's just trying to get a good look at this lady here. It's kind of weird. And then they just happen to walk by these 4 empty, pods, and they get sucked in.
There's just 4 lined up.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the movies or something, and there's just happens, you're like the last one there, but there's just like a whole row just for you.
Yeah. So they get sucked in.
Yeah, they get sucked in.
And as an audience, you don't know, you're like, oh my God, are they dead? Oh, I guess I did put the picture of Teal'c in there with the hair. It didn't make the cut after all. Anyway, so...
He looks less shiny and weird in this frame, probably because he's not as made up.
So...
Although those eyebrows are intense, they look like little meteors crashing into his nose.
Yeah. Well, so...
He always looks like he just sounds like someone just farted in the room and he's smelling it.
He does.
Look at him in the lower left. Like, someone, which one of you people shit your pants?
So, cut to, all of a sudden, O'Neill and Teal'c are in, they're in some, looks like they might be in some kind of army or something.
This guy in the upper right, they're all just sitting there chewing on something, who knows what. They showed up, ooh, we're here to, we're in East Berlin now, we got guns.
So they're like, where are we? And they see a car come and they pull it out. And so the guy in the upper right picture, the guy on the left he was in the pilot and the second episode of the show. He was one of O'Neill's guys when he went to Abydos, which is the planet from the movie. So that's why he's, you're supposed to be familiar with him, is because he was a character for a couple episodes. So they say they're in like 1982. This is 1982, and this was a mission that went horribly wrong. And, Jack and Teal'c are trying to figure out what's going on, and then O'Neill pulls off Teal'c's hat and shows him, and then he's like, what? You got hair? And he doesn't have the thing. So it's very alarming. And then, and at some point, I think like they're going over what might be happening, and they're like, did we time travel? And then Teal'c's like, I don't know, we might have. And
they gotta work too hard to play dumb in this show. Like the characters that they make these really, they either work too hard to play dumb or they jump to wild conclusions. There's no like middle ground where the audience is figuring it out and the characters figuring it out at the same pace. Like the audience just immediately knows, and the main characters look like morons, and it's weird. Then what's his name in the upper right takes too big a fucking bite of pie, and it just starts dribbling down the side of his face.
Yeah, that is, it's just some catch up. But yeah, they go through with the mission, and O'Neill tries to give him some pointers because he's from the future. And then it doesn't work, and then they loop, and then the guys come out.
That's another
again.
thing. No one tries very hard to stop their loop. It's always just like, hey, don't do that, you'll die. And then the guy does it anyway, and he's like, no. Yeah. And then he gets another shot at it, and it's like he just does it. He's like, hey, no, really, don't do that.
But we don't know that the Gamekeeper is changing the rules.
Well, they imply it when he shoots at the bushes, and then the guys are behind the wall, and they come up like little soldiers.
Yeah, they all just pop up at the same time and just start shooting.
But then
that felt very silly.
But this one's even fucking worse.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this all
Like,
week.
look at those two nerds in the lower left. Like, this guy can't just run in and shoulder tackle him out of the goddamn temple. It's like, hey, fucking idiot. It's like, how hard could that be to just be like, go up and just, smack your father in the head and make him chase you? Like, he doesn't want it bad enough at all. This guy is the biggest fucking Mary in any Stargate in the universe. I swear to God.
So, we go from.
Also, look at that little hoodie thing. How 90s is that? Like the little fucking. Like what the little thing he's wearing in the upper left hand corner. You know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about a drug rug, kind of a.
Yes, there you go. I don't know the term that people used for it, but I remember seeing it like all the goddamn time in my youth.
But yeah, they so we go from East Germany to now we're in
the New York Museum of Art.
Yeah, New York Museum. And
they put him in there, and he acts like he doesn't know where he is at first. Then it slowly dawns on him. But it's supposed to be like somewhere he spent shitloads of time. It's where his friggin' parents died.
I'm curious as to how this became a thing, because they're like, where the writers like, okay, we need like some kind of backstory for Dr. Jackson that we can throw them in. And then someone was like, what if his parents were dead? What if they got crushed to death by some kind of giant
temple they were installing at the goddamn New York Museum of History or Art or whatever the hell it is? They're just doing it, setting it up. Then literally both of them are fucking crushed to death beneath giant stones. And then it's just like, and then suddenly it's just like,
I just don't understand what kind of a dumb shit decides that that I have to be directly under this giant slab of stone. That's dangling precariously from a chain.
The woman's kind of like, is that, it's swinging. And he's like, it's fine. He's like, come here underneath this giant heavy slab. And the guy's just sitting there with the look on his face in the upper right, like not doing nothing. He doesn't give a fuck. Even the third time around, he's like, you know what?
He's shocked, okay? He is.
My leg is hurt.
Yeah, but
you seem to be walking on it fine.
Mother's like,
stand there while I get close to the stone.
I was also thinking, it's like, if this really happened, wouldn't that make the guy like hate museums and hate like stuff like this? Because
you never know.
I don't know. It just seems like the whole like, let's have his parents be dead by getting crushed to death by these stones. So then we cut back to East Germany. And, O'Neill's trying to talk this guy, his commanding officer, out of it. And then he notices these strange people in black robes that are watching him. And then he freaks the fuck out. And he's like, what's going on? Are you involved? And then the Gamekeeper, did you know that Lieutenant Reginald Barclay was going to be in this episode?
No.
Is that Barclay?
That is, yeah.
I remember seeing him and thinking, oh man, that looks just like Barclay. And it kept making me think of the episode where Barclay becomes the computer.
Yeah. This is the one where he's super into VR. He's super
I don't want to forget about to mention it. I like later on when he's running, he still has his hands together, like in front of him when he's running around. It's such like a cartoon character fucking gimmick.
I just like in the beginning, I feel like they imply that now they've established that they're in some sort of software and everyone's aware of this, and then they start teasing that Barclay is essentially like the brain behind the computer, right, or something like that. And then later on, we find out he's just tottering out sometimes to fucking do the garden because apparently he's like a regular dude, except he's just dressed different than the other ones.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wait, what? Is this like, the original story just wasn't working out, so they brought in friggin' somebody's cousin to just come in and like rewrite it, and they're just like, fuck it, make him a gardener. And it's like, what?
I mean,
I assume the plot would be that he was a program and he didn't want them to leave because then he would cease to exist or something.
What I was assuming what they did.
That's literally the Voyager episode that I almost had us watch. The Michael McKean one. Yeah, that is. Yeah. But so he is the keeper of what, you asked?
Keeper of dumps.
Was, and something, whatever, he's a keeper. He likes to fuck with people. He got a little too, and then he comes out to do the gardening, which doesn't make sense because this has been going on for 1,000 years, and if he's been coming out to do the gardening for 1,000 years, or not 1,000, because I guess the planet was fucked. It's complicated. Moving on.
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
seeing that character having just watched the finale of Loki, where in the finale of Loki, you know how in the end they've got the character who's like at the person that exists at the end of time, and he
Yeah.
like knows everything that's gonna happen, and he's just like controlling everything and the direction that time is going in, and this whole thing, and it kind of there's some parallels between that character and this character, except the Gamekeeper is such a friggin', you know, the version of that character that you'd buy friggin' when you're standing at the gas station because the pump you used wasn't, the credit card machine doesn't work, so you got to go inside, and then you're looking at all the old friggin' hot dogs and bullshit they sell, and there's the Gamekeeper right next to the fucking, you know, payday bars and the Gittles.
Yes. Okay. Are you saying you didn't like his accent? You thought his accent was bad. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're telling
Just
me?
goofy. It's not very serious. Like it's hard to take him, like he's not a believable character. I don't know. I think Goofy can work like the character in Loki. That's kind of like he's goofy but serious, and you sort of believe that this person is a character who's trapped at the end of time, and he's been existed. You know, he was a scientist from the 31st century, and he's just like, you know, he's just experienced. He's all of time, and he's like, you know, battled all these other variants of himself. Somehow you just buy into the whole premise that he gives you, despite the fact that it's absurd and ridiculous. Whereas the Gamekeeper, I just never, you know, he just felt like too much like a caricature. Like I couldn't like suspend disbelief with his character.
That is the beauty of Stargate, is the flamboyant, you know, arrogant bad guys. Okay, they're
Like
just
Lieutenant Barclay.
there to make people suffer. Like Dr. Daniel Jackson in the museum again. He's like, oh my God, I hate this. I can't believe I'm here.
I know. Once again, he does fucking nothing.
Yeah, he
as
goes
his parents just get crushed for like the 14th time.
Yeah, and they get crushed, and then Carter notices the weirdos in the robes watching, and then he can't do anything. He looks like he's gonna like throw up as they get crushed again. I tried. It was really hard to get that screenshot of this shot of him, you know, turning away while his parents were getting crushed at just the right moment. I wanted to just the right crushing, you know.
Okay.
And then the Gamekeeper shows up, and you know, this is when you gotta watch the trailer, and you gotta see why I took this shot of Dr. Jackson. You like the Gamekeeper? He's like, "Stop this game now!" And he's just like, he wants this to end.
Do you remember how trailers were used back in the time when this show came out? When everyone watched television, and television was a live thing, and there wasn't on demand, and like, you know, a show would end, and they'd be like, next week on Babylon 5.
That's what this trailer is from. Yeah.
It'd be like, you know, and then you'd get to the friggin', you know, car dealership commercial and the, you know, the other bullshit that'd be coming on next.
But yes, it's a good trailer. And then I like when the people are talking to the Gamekeeper, and he's doing this thing where he's like this thing with his neck, like he's you know, Batman or something. Just he can't like just turn his neck. He has to like do a full body like turn.
Turn all shoulders.
Yeah. And then he like brings Teal'c and Colonel O'Neill back, and they come in this weird, like this, you can tell in this one shot on the bottom left here that this is they're definitely in front of some kind of like blue screen or something, because it looks weird. Like they don't look like they fit into that background, because they did the whole swirly bits to bring them in.
Sorry you found the swirly bits unsatisfactory.
Yeah, well, anyway, they're like, we don't want to be in here anymore, and the Gamekeeper's like, fine, you can leave. And so they get out. Or do they?
Yeah, that was obvious immediately. Even friggin' MacGyver, he's like, one of them says something, I was easy. Yeah. And MacGyver's like, "Arr," and he just fucking saunters off. He's like, I got shit to do. You know, this is fucking...
Dr. Jackson got his coffee, and then the general's like, I'm ordering you to go back.
That guy is like disturbingly hairless. I can't look at him. He's hard to look at. His face is too like oval shaped and round.
Are you
like he looks like someone? He looks like he's been molded in clay. He doesn't look like a person. Look how lumpy his face is.
Are you saying?
And then they got this other woman next to him with the roundest hair you could find on a lady. Is that intentional so that their heads are both like the same shape? I don't know if
it wasn't. They don't. Are you kidding me? You think they think these things through in this show?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. When they cast the general, they were just like, we need someone that looks like a mole man.
MacGyver's checking him for ticks.
Yeah. So anyway, MacGyver, he figures it out. He starts like messing with the guy, and then the general's like, "You're testing my patience," and then he, locks him up. Get him in jail. Get him out of here. And then, boom, they escape. Like, it was hard to get a shot of this punch. It's like, what? It looks so weird in the top left-hand corner there.
I didn't understand what the fuck was happening in that scene. Like, am I supposed to recognize this guy?
That's the guy from the first couple episodes. That's like his best friend, and who?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why they were. Yeah, that during that part. So as an audience member, you're supposed to know. You're supposed to have seen every episode of the show before watching this one. Okay. You can't. So yeah, he punches him in the face super hard, and then they escape, and then they talk to the robed people, and you find out, they're trying to get out, and then the Gamekeeper, and then they try to do the Stargate, and the Gamekeeper stops them, and then the Gamekeeper runs away, and they start chasing him, even though he's this guy that's like in charge of this place, and why should he be afraid of them if he's like God in this world? But yeah, and then he runs, and you find out that the general's been the Gamekeeper this whole time. And and then they find the exit, and they get out, and they're like, "Are we really out this time?" And then you hear the Gamekeeper like yelling at people for picking flowers, and it's funny because he's getting got is what's happening, and he's very scared that Colonel O'Neill's going to punch him in the face, assuming that's why he makes that one face in the bottom left. And then episode ends with they're talking to the robed people, and they're like, "Hey, I'm sorry we fucked up your world, but we let you free. We came, we saw, we messed up another civilization, but
so these people have been living in fucking pods for 1,000 years.
For 1,000 years, correct.
And they're they're the last of their species or something? And now they're just roaming around this fucking place picking flowers? Like, they're dead. Like, what the fuck are they sterile? Like, what the fuck is,
I don't know.
What is this?
Their planet, species? There was a
Do they have a trade? Like, what are they supposed to do?
Well, I don't know. We don't get much backstory on them.
Do they even know how to take a shit? Like, do they have toilet paper?
I assume. They've been living in each other's minds.
They got all them plants.
Do they got shells?
Yeah, well, look, they have imaginations, okay? You don't sit in a pod for 1,000 years watching each other's memories and not have a little imagination. All right? But yeah. So, this is Stargate. We half-ass prepare a mission. We go in head first. Something bad happens, and then they got to figure out on the fly. And then at the end of the day, we've completely flipped the civilization upside down. For the better or worse, we don't know. Probably for the better, because it's a television show. We want the good guys to look good. Yeah. Stargate, the Gamekeeper.